Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of NCW, also known as New Comic Wednesday. If you haven't been with us before, we chat for a few minutes every Wednesday about Zenescope's newest releases. If you don't know who I am your NCW host. And every Wednesday, Casey makes the adorable banners that I have here. And she doesn't tell me what the banners are going to have emoji-wise on it. So I always get excited. So that's why I always smile at this part of the show. To find Zenescope's latest releases, you will go to zenescope.com, press comics, press new releases, and it will show you everything that is new in order of going backwards. So you'll be able to see everything that was also previously released. On top of going to our website to get our new releases, you can also go to your local comic shop, or you could head to Comixology where you can read them on the go. Hi, everybody. If you're wondering why I'm so dressed up today, it's because I'm helping promote our award show that will be taking place later this evening, aka I believe in 3 hours, which is the Zennies, our first annual Zennies. The Zennies is going to be an award show where we highlight different artists, creators, comic covers, and it's all voted on by you, the fans. You guys actually voted earlier in the year. So we will be unveiling some very, very big categories for our first annual Zenny Awards, as well as Character of the Year, which is the main award that I know you guys are most excited about. Hi, everybody. On top of that, make sure that you always like this, you share, and you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss anything about our newest releases. That's right. Don't forget to push that notification bell. And I did it on the wrong side once again. There we go. Don't forget to push that notification bell. So you can subscribe and you never miss NCW on Wednesdays, Coffee with Casey and Noah, or as I saw, maybe Caffeine with Casey and Noah, because everybody agrees that they don't actually drink coffee. Casey's drinking tea. You know, up until very recently, Noah had an addiction to body armor. So that has caffeine in it, I believe. So it's really Caffeine with Casey and Noah, but that takes place every Monday at 1 p.m. And then you won't want to miss the VCons, which take place every month, usually in the mid to end of the month. And today's Zenny Awards, we do one-off special streams. You also don't want to miss Movie Club, which takes place at the end of every month. And I will be talking about that later in the stream. Today, we'll be talking about 2 new releases, and technically only one of them is coming out today. The other one's coming out next week, but you guys know that I love me some Jenna Wright, and she wasn't able to make it next Wednesday, which I'm super bummed about because that was actually going to be the 1-year anniversary of NCW. And since she can't make it next Wednesday, so I was like, Jenna, just come on. We're going to talk about Jack and Jill instead today. So she's going to be today's featured guest. So I'm just going to run through Rise of the Djinn pretty fast. This is the conclusion story of Rise of the Djinn. That's right. It's part 3 of 3. It was written by Kevin Grievous. For new stories like this, if I haven't mentioned before, we only do 2 covers. So traditionally, if this is your first time with Zenescope, we do 3 covers. We'll always do a cover A, B, and C. Cover A will reflect the storyline. Cover B will be an action version of the story and usually feature the villain. And cover C will be a pinup of the story. For this, we just do 2 covers. So here is cover A. And as always, let me know which cover you guys like better. There's cover A. Casey, shot up cover B first. That's okay. Here is cover A. It's teasing a little bit what's happening. You know, I love on the covers will show what the character is going to look like maybe later on in the story, so you can have a better idea. And then here is cover B. Let me know which one you guys like better. I like both covers a lot, actually. Cover A unveils what tomorrow is going to look like later on in the story. But I like cover B because it has like this sass. Like, I love a good like sassy cover. It's like stepping on with a gun and all the like, it almost looks like smoke is coming out from the gun, but it's not coming out from the gun. So I really like the vibrant blue and red choices in both of these covers. So in the comments, let me know what your favorite cover is. And meantime, I will read the synopsis of the story, which is very brief. In this final issue, the Sheedam makes his move to take over the Djinn. But can Tamara make the decision and ultimate sacrifice stop him and the war before it's too late? Find out in the blockbuster finale. So basically where we are in this story, just because I can't have Kevin on, and I've had David Wall on, who is the editor-in-chief on the story, and he usually gives really good feedback. I think I had Ralph on one time with maybe issue number 1. But basically where we're on the story is Tamara was married, and she lost her husband in a very unfortunate accident, and she was burned all over. And then all of a sudden, she has these incredible healing powers, and she's totally fine. Everybody's like, sus. What is going on here? And she finds out about this backstory that she has in relation to the gym, and she is a special, I won't give away too much, but she has special powers that maybe makes her something important in this world. So in issue number 1, basically all the tragedy happens with her husband, which makes this such a good storyline. Not that I love a story that starts off with tragedy, but there's no, it doesn't hop to like something that's already happened. Like we literally witness it in the first like 3 pages, her husband dies. And a lot of what I really like about the story, and I put this in my notes, is there's like a really, really heart-wrenching conclusion to this story. You know, it's difficult for her to get over, you know, the trauma of losing her husband, which is so difficult. But on top of that, she also, it's a lot of faith is released. There's definitely a lot of hints to religion in this storyline. And something I really like is how she utilizes that in her story. It makes me connect with the character a lot. It shows why she makes the choices that she is making. And what is, you know, faith without risk, right? She's, you know, choosing to believe this thing that she has, the jinn in her, choosing to believe she has these powers. And there's just a lot of risky decisions that she makes in issue number 3. So I really enjoyed the conclusion here. I really enjoyed 1 through 3. If you guys need backstory on Rise of the Jinn, you could go back and watch previous NCWs where I talked to our editor-in-chief and I believe Ralph. If not, you can also just go to your comic shop and pick up issue 1 and 2. They're really good reads. The best thing about these storylines is there's only 3 issues, so you'll get the complete storyline of Tamara and the tragedy behind her and her mystical powers. So again, today's only release is Rise of the Jinn. You can head right now to zenescope.com to get it. And like we said before, there were 2 covers. Okay. That's the end of NCW. Nah, just kidding. We're going to talk about Myth and Legends, Jack and Jill. And even though it's not releasing today, as I mentioned before, Jenna will not be able to join us next Wednesday. And I love having Jenna on. Everybody knows this. Jenna's my fave. So I wanted to have her on to talk a little bit about Jack and Jill and tease a little bit about it. So without further ado, here is the writer, Jenna Lynn Wright.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy I could make it today.
Why? What did you have next Wednesday that was so crucial we couldn't hang?
I thought I was going to be free, and then I had a meeting get set for a writing project that I'm doing, and I couldn't move it around. I apologize.
Well, I'm glad that you agreed to come on today.
I wouldn't miss it. I'm so sad that I'm going to miss the 1-year anniversary.
I know it's going to be actually a really big NCW.
Yeah.
So far, the guest lineup includes me. Dave will be making an appearance. I just asked Ralph if he wanted to come on. Maybe Casey wants to make her NCW, not her debut because she was on NCW a couple weeks ago, but maybe she wants to come on. Want to do something special for the 1 year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a blast.
The featured guest was going to be Jenna Lynn Wright, but she canceled.
I'm ruining everything.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Myth and Legends, Jack and Jill. So tell me, you know, what backstory you were given on Jack and Jill writing the story.
I was given the backstory on Jack mostly because Jill, I believe, is a new character. So she's someone who's coming in and just kind of throwing a wrench in everybody's plans. And it was really, so many of these stories that I've been writing focus on women. It was really cool to read a story about like this big, strong, burly dude and his backstory. And his is pretty tragic as well. I believe the Giants killed his wife, right?
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of emotional and psychological damage.
we at Zenoscope we don't shy away from tragedy. As I mentioned before, Tamara, our character in Rest of DJINN, loses her husband within like the first 3 pages of the story.
Yeah, it's a good way to, I mean, you get the sympathy going, right? Because then you're going to pretty much like follow those characters anywhere they go, because everyone knows what loss is like. Everyone has experienced, I mean, I hope nobody's experienced losing their spouse, but like everyone knows what it's like to lose somebody and what you would do because of it. I think you can imagine that you'd be on their side, at least for a while, until they get really dark, which, I mean, Jack gets pretty dark. So
yeah. So the opening of Jack and Jill is really Jill in this village. Tell me a little bit about the village.
The village is, oh, thank you, Gabriel.
Very true.
The village is hidden to protect the giants from Jack. Because as we know, Jack is a giant killer, and not all giants are bad. And so a group of them have gone into the woods and gone into hiding to just kind of try to be peaceful and live out their lives and not, rock any boats. And they have a magic that they use to get in and out of this like portal that takes them into the village. So Jill has a good relationship, it seemed like, many of the people in the village. It seems like they're a pretty tight-knit community. Yeah, they're super, super tight-knit. They're all like a family. Like they have these big group dinners. There's one leader, and then kind of everyone is just like this huge loving clan. Like they wouldn't hurt a fly, really. So since Jill is a new character, what do you feel like you really wanted to incorporate in the writing style for her that still relates to what people know essentially about Jack and Jill in like the myth storyline? For her, it was all about, she's a woman who I think was pretty much set on who she was and what she believed to be true. And she's like, I've had some bad things happen to me in my life, but I'm surrounded by loving people, and I'm very much into protecting my family. And then when she learns a couple of new bits of information about her past, she realizes that not everything she knew is the truth. And so it was a lot about this very strong woman going into this kind of a little bit of fumbling, a little bit of revenge story, kind of like my feet have been taken out from underneath me. And then toward the end of the story, getting back on her feet again, but in from a more like knowledgeable and strong place. It was she was really fun to write. It was a really cool arc. That was my next question, is actually, what was the transformation that Jill saw in this entire story? Yeah. She goes from someone who's very set in who she is, but young, and goes through learning that some people have been keeping secrets from her. Some people aren't who she thought they were, and getting betrayed a little bit, having to find her own way alone, I think, for the first time in her whole life. And then when she comes out the other side, she's a little bit harder, because when you go through these experiences, they toughen you up. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. But like, she's definitely stronger and like more assured in who she is, because she's got more of the information now. I feel like you've really found your footing with writing our myth and legend stories, because, I mean, Blood Pharaoh was an excellent story. Thank you. They're a blast. They're so much fun. Is it easier, you'd say, to like write like a myth and legend story than just to write an ongoing character story, because you can kind of develop some of these characters on their own? Yeah, it is nice to kind of have, like with Jack, so I had a little bit of the structure, but I had a lot of free reign to kind of make the new characters what I wanted. It's kind of the best of both worlds. So it's not left all up to me to kind of sink or swim on my own, but I'm not also stuck in this place that's so rigid that I can't bring anything new to the table. It's been a lot of fun. Jenna, what are you writing next for Zenoscope? Tell me. So when can I have you on again? The next one that is coming out is the Tales of Terror Quarterly Sea of Souls, which is another anthology like we did with the Krampus. Sea of Souls. Yeah. Sea of Souls. Yeah. Go ahead. I was going to say, I think it's coming out in like a couple weeks. Maybe it's like a month or 2 months. It's coming out soon. I think so. Yeah. It's about a cruise ship. And it's not really a cruise you're going to want to take, because if you're a bad person, you're going to get what's coming to you. And you're stuck out on a boat in the middle of the ocean. There's nowhere for you to run.
I was about to say, does anybody want to take a cruise? But I've taken plenty of really fun cruises. Maybe nobody wants to take a cruise now.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, thank you so much, John.
So sweet. Everybody's so nice.
Yeah.
So Sea of Souls, just like a quick, this is some insider information, was originally called Haunted Cruise, I believe. And so Casey and I were like laughing at one point. We're like, is this Sea of Souls? We're not sure if this is Sea of Souls. Is this the Haunted Cruise? So it's like
for a second, I kept calling it Sea of Scrolls. I was like, is it Sea of Skulls? I just kept screwing it up. But yeah, Sea of Souls. There are some very unfortunate souls upon this boat.
Before I let you go, I see that Chuck has a question.
Sure. The Jack and the Beanstalk installment back in Grimm Fairy Tales 8. Oh my gosh, there are so many volumes. The one that I read was the one that specifically told Jack's backstory, where you saw him lose his wife and go on his, giant killing spree, and hook up with the queen and just kind of like go off with her.
Yeah.
So that was
I can't think of the title of that one, because again, there are so many, especially because if anybody's joining us for the first time, Zenescope likes to have, their ongoing stories. And so they'll do Grimm Universe Presents Spotlight, where they'll spotlight a character. And then they'll also do Quarterly, which will be a quarterly story of a character. And then they'll do their ongoing like Grimm Fairy Tales and, all of that great stuff. But what they love to do, and this is what Dave and David are excellent at, is they like to intertwine storylines. So a character that you would never expect to show up in a storyline will show up in a storyline, and then you'll be like, oh, I totally forgot that character was in that storyline because they were just passing through, but then Dave will still connect it to something later on. So sometimes people will be like, oh, what was the last appearance of this character? And I'll name like, oh, it was during Robin Hood's storyline. They're like, what?
I see in the side here, Chuck said Jenna may change that up, but in Grimm Fairy Tales, there are siblings. I can say they are not siblings in this book, so that is different. Yeah.
Some changes. Okay, I see another question from John. Is there a connection to Bell War of Giants?
That's a good question. I do not know. I only know specifics to my comic.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know. So you kind of brought up a point. I guess I didn't realize this. So I know that sometimes they share tidbits on certain characters, like especially if you're going to write about something, but they also send you past stories so you can reread them.
Yes, they do. Because a lot of times, especially when I was first starting out with things like the Oz story that I did, there was a ton of back reading that I had to do because I needed to familiarize myself with the world. So yeah, they'll say, listen, you need to read this trade, issues 3, 4, and 5 over here. So yeah, there's a lot of reading and catching up to do for sure on some of them. That's why the ones that are the anthologies are a little bit easier, because it's mostly, there's not so much mythology to catch up on.
And it's a lot of research that you're doing on, past mythology instead of research on Zenescope's history, right?
For sure. Yep.
John, make sure that you come back next Wednesday on NCW, because I am interested to know if I have not read War of Giants yet. Usually I'll read the releases a week out. So I don't know if there is a connection, but I'm going to have Dave on, and I'm going to make it a point to ask Dave, because Dave, A, knows everything, but B, he also can be very ominous with his answers when I ask him something directly that he doesn't want to answer. And so if everybody's there to witness, we can come up with the explanation on our own. Well, thank you so much, Jenna, for joining me. I hope to have you on again. Again, we are not releasing Myth and Legends Jack and Jill this Wednesday. We're releasing it next Wednesday, so literally in 1 week. But Jenna was not able to join us next Wednesday. And I just wanted to give you guys a little tease of Jack and Jill.
I hope you guys like it. I had a total blast writing it. It was one of my favorites.
I love that. Well, goodbye, Jenna. Everybody will miss you.
So nice to see you, Amber.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Jenna and I have a text chain and everything now. I see you really wish that, though. I'm sure that you all know that. Jenna's the best. I love having her on. Again, today's only release was Rise of the Djinn #3, which is the conclusion to our Rise of the Djinn storyline, written by Kevin Grievix. But we did dive in and we teased next week's release, which is Jack and Jill, Myth and Legends Jack and Jill, written by Jenna Lynn Wright, who was just on for your guys' insight. Myth and Legends Quarterly are always very longer storylines. I believe they're 72 pages. That's why the price is always $8.99, because you are getting a complete storyline with Myth and Legends. So, okay, we'll go into what's coming up. A lot of stuff. NCW collectible, guys. Okay. Everybody needs to buy this. We cannot destroy this bomb ass cover done by Sun Kumanaki. We can't destroy this cover. Don't make Casey and Noah destroy this cover. I love this cover. There's been 3 incredible covers. The first 2 were done by Elias. This Van Helsing cover, do not make us destroy it. Go buy it on the web store right now. You have 1 week, okay? 1 week. 1 week to buy. So hop to everybody. And then we'll be releasing, not next week, but the following week, what our April collectible will be. So this week's winner, congratulations. I like when the confetti comes up. Yay, John Patton. His favorite novel was No Tomorrow. If you guys haven't read No Tomorrow, that is the origin story of Carrie's. So if you ever wanted to know who the girl behind all the ominous warnings was, go and read No Tomorrow. And then we've actually had some support stories of hers that include on her storyline. Obviously, she usually makes an appearance in Grim Tales of Terror, but she also does have her own story arc. Recently, most written by Pat Shand. So thank you, John. Congratulations. Woohoo! Woohoo! Next week's release is Grim Fairy Tales number 58. And as I mentioned, our writer, Dave Franchini, publisher, will be joining us. And we will be briefly discussing Myth and Legends Quarterly Jack and Jill, because we just discussed it right here. If you missed the interview with Jenna Lynn Wright, make sure that you go back and watch it. The stipulation, I know I just skipped ahead on what the stipulations for next week's NCW was. Casey, she's just like, okay, whatever Amber wants to do. Comment below your favorite Zenoscope trilogy. It can be a part of, our 3-part series like Rise of the Djinn, which concludes today. It could be a part of a 3-part graphic novel like Wonderland. Maybe it's Man, Goat, and the Bunny Man. Maybe it's All Guts, No Glory. I'm sure Ralph would love to hear that. If The Courier was ever 3 parts, which I believe, yeah, it was. Liberty and Death was 3 parts. Comment that below. But whatever your favorite 3-part trilogy was. And if you guys missed my interview actually with Ralph 2 weeks ago, we dove into the format of single issues. I asked, why is it that we do 3 issues for a storyline? Does everybody do that? Do they usually do 5, etc.? So you'll get some really good answers. So go back and watch NCW. I believe 2 weeks ago, Ralph gave a lot of good insight. Getting down. Carol, you're such a sweetheart, but I need to know if this is true. Tell me, is this true? Because this would just make Ralph's day. So, okay, really quick. Lots of stuff going on. Tonight, I mentioned it, the Zennies, starting at 6 p.m. You're going to be hanging out with Casey, Noah, Jay, and Ralph. There's going to be some incredible awards given out tonight. We're going to find out who Character of the Year is. I can't wait to see what the best collectible cover was. And that's why I'm so fancily dressed up here. Not that you could really see, because I have this beautiful background of my cat tower back there, which I'm sure that you really appreciate. I wish I got Sombra in a tuxedo. Would have been cool. But so tonight, the Zennies, don't miss it. 6 to 8 p.m. is going to be a lot of fun. Fan Expo Philly, our first in-person convention, will be taking place in like 2.5 weeks. Kind of stressed out about it, not going to lie. But we're so excited to meet you guys. If you are a VIP and you are coming to the show, just remember that you can ask for your VIP swag bag, because as a VIP, we'll always give you a free VIP swag bag, which will include a collectible and some fun, tchotchke items that we use to appreciate VIP. So come hang out with us in Fan Expo Philly. 301 is our new booth number. On top of that, our next movie club is taking place next Thursday, the last day of March 31st. It is Species. So I actually saw the cover today. It is, what a good cover. You guys are going to love this sun cover. Love the sun cover. So make sure that you guys come and hang out for movie club with the movie club crew. Speaking of the movie club crew, the Zenny Awards, I almost have the VIP event. There we go. The VIP event will be taking place in literally 1 month. 1 month today. You can hang out in Vegas with us. It will be so much fun. We'll be dressed up. Times in Sin City await, guys. Our flight's booked. Have you booked your flights? If you haven't booked your flights, go book your flights. If you haven't got your tickets, come get your tickets. It's going to be the best time ever. You guys are going to super, super enjoy it. I mentioned earlier, but every Monday at 1 p.m., we do Coffee with Casey and Noah. So make sure that you catch up on all the industry news at 1 p.m. I'm just going to do stream updates today because I know there's so much going on, and I'm sure Casey and Noah and Jay are going to give you the rundown today on the Zennies. But that is it for another edition of NCW. Make sure that you are here next Wednesday. This will be the 1-year NCW anniversary. This is the first time that we met 1 year ago. Next Wednesday, okay, but also not because I had done a VCon at that point. That was the first time we ever did NCW together, and it was very special, and I'd like to commemorate. We're going to have a lot of featured guests, as I mentioned before. It's going to be probably an hour long. I'll probably get in trouble for it, but we're going to do whatever we want because it's the 1-year anniversary. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Where you here at Zenescope, where you come for the covers, but you stay for the stories. I will see everybody next Wednesday or tonight at 6 p.m. I won't be there, but make sure that you come and hang out for the Zenny Awards. See everybody soon. Bye, everybody.